Hi, welcome back. So, in case you don't know, I like to travel with my Brompton. Right now I'm in Seoul, Korea. It's the 10th country my Brompton has been to with me. And I want to talk about cases. And this is the third case I've owned for the Brompton. It's probably my favorite so far, but I'll talk about other cases as well. One by BMW, which is a fold-on case, as well as there's an older Polaris case, which I'm not even sure they still make. So this is the Trigo, and let's dive into it because I want to tell you why it's one of my favorites. Let's take a closer look. First thing you'll notice about the Trigo, it's a nice spinner case, and that's pretty cool. It's pretty solid. Really, it's got a lot of force to it, which is nice. It's pretty rigid on the sides. I'll start with what I don't like is there is this lock here, which you can lock the tabs from the zippers on both sides, but this is not a TSA approved lock. So can't use it, otherwise they break it if they want to break it. So gotta get like your own little doohickey locks and lock both sides. So if you look up top, there's a couple of buckles. They just easily come apart. And this top one as well. And so now what we're going to do is just quite simply unzip it. Unzip the side. And you can see it starts to peel back. It's actually foldable, and I'll explain why that is in a minute. But there's the Brompton. Let's unzip the other side. Here, the spinner's really nice. This comes down. This comes down. And there is your bike. Now, before I move from the case, I want to point out, it just sort of drops in here. I have a rack on this Brompton. I do have to take off the saddle, and that is, I think because I ride with an inverted Pentaclip, so it stands a little bit taller. If your Pentaclip is on the bottom rails, it might be low enough to zip in with the saddle, but taking off the saddle is not too hard. Now, quite simply, we just pull the whole bike out. Just like that. So if we get the bike out of the way for a second, here's why I really love this case. It all folds together. So, as I said before, it's pretty rigid. But it folds down. This is great because if you're in a smaller hotel room in Europe or some other places in Asia, you don't have a lot of space for a big case. So the fact that it just pops down nicely and easily, it's fantastic. Now on the bottom of this case, why don't you come down closer? There are snaps. So the same thing that held it together from the top locks it together from the bottom. And that's a really nice compact design. Next thing I want to point out is the feet. The feet pop off nice and easy. So when you check it, I always pull the feet off. I don't want them getting broken. I don't know how hard this would be to replace if it did get broken, but without the feet, the whole thing fits in comfortably for no oversized charges when checking on a plane, which is great. Lastly, there is a Brompton front block mount on the bottom of this whole box. So you could theoretically just clip it to the front and bike away, which is something I would probably never do. So overall, even though it does fold up, the whole design is pretty sturdy. It is pretty rigid. I'm not really sure what kind of vinyl material this is, but it's pretty strong. There's a nice soft bit on the back for the inside, so that keeps all your Brompton all nice and cleaned. Scratches are banged up as it drops out on the conveyor belt at the airport. But this is great. The whole thing's pretty light. I think my Brompton with the super light in this case comes to 32 pounds. Not really sure, but I think it was in the low 30s when I scanned the scale, so no problem. It's undersized, underweight, just check it. Lastly, for those of you who may not know, if you're ever going to travel with your Brompton, no matter how you do it, you gotta remove the clamps. If these things get bent during shipping, then the whole bike functionally becomes useless unless you go find some more of these screws. If the clamp gets bent, then you're, well, I'm not gonna say it. So just pull them off. I stash them in my carry-on, and then they're just nice and safe. And it's the easiest thing to put back in, so it's not terribly difficult. I'm using these from Knob Design, which have a small magnet on the back, which helps them latch into place nicely. So that's it. This is why this is a great case. It's light, it's sturdy, it's easy to use, takes a minute or two to get the Brompton in or out of it, folds up into the smallest hotel room. It's fantastic. Not sponsored. I don't even have a sponsored link or anything like that, but I'll put a link down below if you just want to get this one. And yeah, take your Brompton anywhere. Mine's been to 10 countries so far, and looking forward to the next 10. If this is helpful, remember to like or subscribe. Leave a comment below with any questions. Thanks.